From Orlando, Florida. Sorry, the camera quality isn't all it should be. I'm streaming on my laptop and I haven't set up my camera because the Wi-Fi isn't necessarily the best, but let me just make sure I'm actually talking to somebody and I'm not just talking to myself, just see if the stream's kicked in anywhere and everywhere. So I'm going to have a look now. How are you all doing on Sunday, UK? How are you feeling about it? How's your weekend going? Just before I kind of dive in, if you're a subscriber to my newsletter on LinkedIn or on my website, don't worry, there is something coming. I have been basically traveling for 2 days, so I can't put it out until I land in Atlanta. So I'm doing a huge road trip today to go from Orlando to Atlanta with Martin, Emily, and Lauren from the team. So a 3-week road trip around the US, which is going to be fun. But today I wanted to just jump on quickly whilst the Wi-Fi holds out before everybody in the hotel jumps on it and just talk a little bit about the best people are the worst marketers. And I've seen this over a decade of doing what I do, that the best people are the worst marketers. And what I mean by that is the people who are the least experienced, the people who are the least knowledgeable, the people who've got the least track record are the people shouting from the rooftops, telling people how good they are. And then the people with like 15 years experience, 25 years experience, the people who actually can solve problems for people are the most modest, reasonable, middle of the road people you can possibly imagine. And that is a criticism and also an observation. It's a criticism in that the internet doesn't seem to reward you underselling yourself. That doesn't mean you just BS people, but it doesn't seem to reward you being understated. In real life, not social media world, if somebody if you met somebody and they went, oh, yeah, I've done a little bit of work, there'd be somebody there to say, no, actually, you've done 15 years. And the nuance of you going, yeah, I've done a little bit of work in this area would be picked up as that means a lot. In social media land, that nuance is lost. And so you've got 20-year-old kids here, but you've got 20-year-old kids telling people how to build multi-million-dollar businesses, and they haven't done it. Meanwhile, you've got somebody who's actually done it, sat on the fence. You've got somebody who's actually done it, worrying about what people might think. Yeah, and this is true, right? This is somebody watching me right now is going to have this scenario where they're actually sat on the fence and bluntly getting, I can't say the word, peed off because they see somebody younger, less experienced, less track record, no track record, outperforming them in terms of business performance. And this is just a atypical thing that anybody who's selling their knowledge or expertise or experience in some way, whether you're a freelancer, whether you're a coach, whether you're a consultant, will do this. And it comes from the more experience you have in a field, the more you realize the stuff you don't know. Yeah. So when you start out in a field, you're cocky, confident, and then as you start to work client projects and the theory doesn't quite work out as in practice, as you realize that there's more nuance to this than just, follow a 3-step plan, it makes you more cautious about what you say and how you say it. And that then filters into your language and how you market yourself. And this is a common problem. And sometimes it comes from that kind of experience. You've got so much experience, you know that there's not a simple answer for things. You know that there's not a 3-step formula. And so you kind of are cautious about presenting online very simplistic answers to complex problems. But in order to actually help people, they have to understand your complex problem in a simple way. And this leads me to another challenge that makes the best people the worst marketers. The best experts get themselves tied up and in overthinking, overanalyzing, and not enough doing. They obsess, right? I'll tell you a story, right? One of the businesses I run, we have like a thought leadership business, and we help people write their thought leadership for LinkedIn. And you'd be surprised how many people who have zero LinkedIn presence, saying nothing, obsess about the risk of their reputation. They're very, very protective of their reputation in terms of negativity, but they are totally invisible online. And there is no way, in all honesty, to protect a reputation and grow it 100%. There is always going to be risk involved with putting yourself out there. And what happens is people obsess about the risks to the point where they won't say this, they won't say that. They don't want to say that in case it's misinterpreted. They don't want to say this in case it's misinterpreted. And what if somebody thinks this? The ability of people, me included, to invent fictional people and their opinions and use those fictional opinions that I've created in my head. What if somebody reads this and thinks I'm up myself? What if somebody reads this and thinks I'm full of crap? The ability for us to invent those fictional people with fictional opinions and then use that invention we've just made to justify not doing something is insane. Yeah, people do this all the time. I will create something that does not exist and use that as logic to not do something. And I see these people do this all the time of what if a big one, it's really difficult to get clients on LinkedIn. It's really hard if you're not very clear on who you're talking to. And we've had this conversation before and we'll have it again, but I'm not doing it today. Right? But people have this kind of fear of if they talk to one group of people, they'll lose out somewhere else. And most of the time when people have this discussion with me of, well, Dean, if I focus on this group, I could lose out to there. But if we rewind that conversation and where it started was, Dean, I'm not getting any clients. So I've got people who come to me and say, Dean, I've got no clients. And I say to them, right, who are you talking to? Who do you want the clients to be? They will raft off a bank of different groups. And I say, okay, that's too many to speak to in one go. It's too many to make sure you seem relevant. It's too broad a group to be able to show your expertise to any one of those groups in a really powerful way. So we make it easier for you to get clients. So I say, let's go with one of them. And immediately there's this reaction inside them of like, yeah, but what about those people who might want to work with me? And they forget the whole piece beforehand of nobody's working with me. I'm getting no leads. I'm not getting enough leads. I'm not getting enough referrals. So what happens is we invent these scenarios, totally fictional, totally hypothetical, and then treat them as fact to basically undermine our marketing. So we'll do this with words we say on our website. We'll do it with our content. We'll kind of worry about people who haven't bought from us, haven't decided to buy from us, and their opinions more than the opinions of people who will want to buy from us. And this whole piece comes from like a fear of messing it up, a fear of kind of, if I put myself out there, I could be called out. Yeah. If I put myself out there, what if somebody disagrees with me? What if, some of you, I'm going to say this, the best thing that could happen to you on LinkedIn is somebody to disagree with you. The best thing to happen to you could be somebody disagree with you, because it will force you to either defend yourself and stand up for yourself, or it will force you to advocate stronger for your opinions. But this middle of the road, I'm not going to say this or I'm not going to do that, because what if some other fictional group of people hold me back, is the biggest marketing prison that a lot of expert people deliberately put themselves in. Fictional people. At the end of the day, if you think about it, right? Most people listening to me, they're not CEOs of billion-dollar companies here, right? They are going to be small business owners. They're going to be marketing people. Yeah, you don't need 10,000 clients, right? I'm not going into the whole depth thing that we did yesterday. You don't need 10,000 clients, right? For most people here, 20 clients would be fantastic, right? All you need are 20 people to buy into you and your way. But as long as you play this fictional game of hiding things and kind of inventing personas that are going to hold you back, or fictional arguments of why you shouldn't do something, you alienate yourself from the 20 people. Yeah. In an effort to not upset anybody, you appeal to nobody. You're just a nice person somewhere in the background. When what you need to be, for those 20 people who are going to buy from you, you need to be the best person. That they see you, they get to know you, your personality comes out, the things you actually really think about your topic and your area and your specialism, you actually say, so that people can connect with you. Continuing from what we said yesterday. But as long as we allow our fictional arguments and fictional fears, and, one of the things to bear in mind is, by the way, fear is very logical. Fear is very logical. It will give you very strong cases of why you shouldn't do something. But human beings are not logical. The reason why somebody connects with me is not logical. It's not, I've done an analysis of Dean's personality type, and the argument for it's a connection. Some people won't like me, and that's fine. And some people will. Yeah. And some people will be, who cares? Right? That's the nature of the beast. But this fear of, what if I mess this up? What if this? What if that? What if you don't mess it up? What if you start sharing what you really think? What if you start standing behind your expertise and being confident in it? What if you actually tell people how flipping good you are, and people go, yeah, you are. You see, we always run to the downsides. We run to the potential consequences, but we never run to the potential opportunities. We never talk about those. And so what happens is people go, well, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to do that. I don't really want to share that review that was amazing because I don't want people thinking I'm a scammer or whatever. You have all of that. Meanwhile, the people who do not care may be completely naive, don't know what they're doing, never solved a real problem in their life. They just saw it's a good way to make money online, are coming for your lunch. And I see this all the time. Experts, really good at what they do, fantastic at what they do, coach or a consultant or a marketing freelancer or whatever you are, right? Being modest. Yeah. And, I come from a very religious background. I grew up in a very kind of deeply Christian world. And of course, that kind of, they say pride comes before a fall. And that's true. And humility is a good thing, being, not being up yourself. But there's something that a lot of experts have, which is false humility. It's not, humility is knowing who you are and who you're not. False humility is when you choose to undersell yourself. I don't mean oversell. That doesn't mean you have to go, I'm, bombastic Donald Trump, I'm the best thing, whatever. I nearly swore again then. It just means you have to be confident in who you are and what you've done. And, I'm not a coach in imposter syndrome or anything like that, but I see a lot of experts running around knowing what they do. And I think one of the number one causes of imposter syndrome in 2025 for people who are subject matter experts who are trying to build a business, I think the number one cause is that the comparison trap online. I think, that, what is it, Newton's law of unintended consequences, or the Newton's third law, or whatever it is, right? Basically means that when you do something, when something happens, there's unintended consequences. And, the ability to share online, the ability to build your business online has created this unintended consequence that everybody's putting their best foot forward, and some people are just bullshitting. And this comparison trap basically leaves experts doubting themselves. And so they go, what if that doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? Well, they did that and that. And it's creating people with really great talent, really great abilities, not putting themselves forward because they look and they're comparing themselves to other people online and going, well, I'm not good as them because look at their results and look at mine. I can't say that because I'm not in that position. And as long as you keep doing that, the reason why people get into elevated positions, the reason why people get into these kind of very influential places where they have a huge platform, the real reason, not the social media reason, is because they have something to say. They have something to say. And the grown-ups online, the people who've actually got experience, got knowledge, are hedging what they're saying because they're looking at some of the things they're seeing and going, maybe I shouldn't do that. It's a kind of form of imposter syndrome. And that shows up then in your content, because you hedge in your content and what you say. It hedges in your offer and what you're selling because you kind of tone it down and you don't say the impact it can really have because you don't want to seem too bombastic. And all of those things starts to infiltrate all of your habits and the way you communicate, to the point where people would look at it and go, I don't see the value. I don't see the value. Well, compared to that one here, this offer here, yours is a bit weak. And it's not, I'm not advocating you go from hiding your lamp under a bushel to Donald Trump levels of, self-promotion here. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're not doing yourself proud online, if you're not standing by what you believe, if you're not saying what you actually think, if you're not being yourself, you are underselling yourself. Yeah, Donald Trump is massively overselling, but there is a huge space between being that and where you are right now. So this is just my thought. It's just something I see, and I thought I'd share it with you, that if you are underselling yourself, maybe it's doubt, maybe it's overthinking, maybe it's the fictional arguments, maybe it's the comparison trap, you are holding yourself back. And until you recognize that, until you decide I'm not going to do it anymore, you are sabotaging your business in the marketing, in how you communicate your value. You're sabotaging your own lifestyle, the way you live and the goals you have. Because think about it. How would somebody and why would somebody pay you top drawer money for your expertise if online you come across as not worth it? Or you come across as you don't even believe in your own price? I know a lot of people who feel uncomfortable about pricing. And I have a controversial view of how to solve any problem. Is that if, say, for an example, you feel uncomfortable about pricing, the number one thing you should do online is put your price out. So if you go, right, I've got a coaching program at £6,000 for 12 weeks. And every time I go on a call, I kind of have a call with somebody, talk to them. And then basically there's this awkward time where they have to ask me how much it is. And in that moment, I feel so icky and uncomfortable about talking about the price. If you've got that scenario, the number one thing you need to do is start posting your price on your offer and on your posts. Not every post, of course, that's a bit weird. Why? Because you've got to get over it. You've got to get over it. If you cannot post your price online and you feel icky about it, The only way to get over that is to break it. You have to put it out there. So if tomorrow when I log into LinkedIn, and of course I'm on American time now, so I'm 4 hours behind the UK, and it'll get worse as I go further into the US. But tomorrow, here's a challenge for you. If you're afraid of talking about your price, this is part of an issue that you are somehow not confident. And I don't mean you're not good. I mean, you're not confident in how good you are, right? Confidence only shows up after the event. It's annoying. Confidence is that friend who basically you go, I need you to be there on time. Can you be there at 7:30, please? It's really important. I need you there at 7:30, right? For a really important party or whatever. Confidence is that friend who goes, yes, I will be there at 7:30 and shows up at 8:15, right? Confidence always shows up late. It shows up after you need it. And so we wait for the confidence to say what we think. We wait for the confidence to put our price out there. One day we will feel more confident. No, you get more confident putting your price, talking about money and talking about pricing by doing it. And eventually it feels better. So I know there are some people who feel icky about their price, feel uncomfortable about it. It's the number one reason why you should talk about it. If there are issues that you are passionate about, and when you start writing it, you start worrying about what could negatively happen, right? Don't be reckless, but it's a sign you have to talk about it. Anything that you avoid doing is probably something you must do. And in the marketing scenario, if you start to not share what you think because you're worried about hypothetical consequences, it's probably a sign that is something you should talk about. That is something you should do. Right, I don't know how long this Wi-Fi is going to hold out, and I've got no power on my laptop, so it's going to die any minute. But tomorrow is a new day. Monday is the beginning of a new week, unless you're one of those weird people who think the week starts on a Sunday. But Monday is the beginning of a new week. Write down today 3 things that you've been ducking. 3 things about your business, your expertise, your marketing you've been ducking, you've been pulling back from, you've been afraid of, and over the next week, start to make actions on them. If there's something you want to say, but you keep ducking it, you feel uncomfortable, you're worried about it, flip and say it. Yeah, it's the only way through. It's the only way to get better. You don't get better by avoiding things. You don't get better by ducking things. You don't get better by overthinking things. You get better by doing things. Anyway, before my Wi-Fi dies, have a great Sunday. And I'm looking for your prices in the feed tomorrow. So if that's you, put your price in the feed or tag me in it. And I will say, what a low price. What a low price. You should charge more. Anyway, see you next week.